Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredibly, fantastically wonderful day. To start things off, I have some very confusing news for you. According to data from Crypto Compare, during a span of 15 minutes, between 5 minutes after midnight to 20 minutes after midnight on Sunday, which is approximately 48 hours before Bitcoin's next halving, the average price of Bitcoin across the entire crypto sphere dropped from around 9,500 to around 8,300, which is a loss of around 12%, depending on which cryptocurrency exchange and price metric you are looking at. I saw the price of Bitcoin drop to around 8,200, and I think even 8,050 on a couple of cryptocurrency exchanges as well. There's that ridiculous chart right there. Look at it. Going down for no gosh darn reason. Over on Coinbase, the crash was slightly less severe, with the Bitcoin price dropping from 9,400 to 8,400 during the same 15-minute period. There's another chart. There were complaints on Twitter from traders, such as the one below, who found that Coinbase was having some issues coping with this kind of price volatility. It says error. Response status code was unacceptable. 502. Try again. Popular crypto analyst Josh Rager had this to say roughly 5 minutes after the crash. TikTok, it's officially Sunday UTC. Time to let the BTC games begin. 9,100 couldn't hold. That was the key area. Bitcoin looks as if it's a local top and is trying it, heading back down to 7,000. Land. Okay. If this closes above 8,400, gray box. What a confusing tweet. Around an hour later, Scott Melker, a crypto trader at Texas West Capital, said that after the real deal selling we just witnessed, he wanted to wait a bit to see how things shake out. For those of you who are still confused, you should be. We are less than 2 days away from Bitcoin's reward halving, and for some odd reason, the cryptocurrency prices across the entire market have gone down. Why have they gone down? No one really knows. Of course, we also have the news as well that during all of this happening, as the prices were going down, Coinbase apparently also, I don't even want to use the word shuts off. It turned off. It wasn't working. People were unable to access their Coinbase accounts, as we've seen similarly before in the past. No one knows at the moment if it is simply that they were overrun with sell orders and therefore things kind of fell apart, or could it be that they have that new, what is it called? That stop loss activated trigger thing that we were discussing a couple of days ago, that a bunch of other cryptocurrency exchanges around the world are now starting to adopt the same exact way that stock exchanges also use this machinery as well. If prices dip too far, too fast, things kind of get unplugged. I mean, it's not an actual unplugging, but you kind of get exactly what I'm saying. And it could be that the dip could have been a lot dippier if a couple of exchanges probably did not go offline. Yeah, so confusion is running rampant at the moment. It says Bitcoin price plunges 19%, but key data suggests institutions are buying the dip. I would not be surprised at all. I would not 0% be surprised if this, I mean, look at this. What normal people were selling off Bitcoin so en masse that the price would drop by 20%? It wasn't me. It wasn't you. It wasn't anyone else I know. I'm going to assumption time that it was some other major institution behind the scenes who realized that they can not only sell off massively on one other exchange, but also probably buy up on another exchange as well. And I mentioned before that the cryptocurrency market is heavily manipulated. And that is because, once again, this is not an excuse for this. This is not me saying that this is correct or should be done. But you have to understand, if Bitcoin is at any point looking realistically like it could not only usurp the US dollar, push aside the US dollar, become a leading currency where things are based off of the actual future price of Bitcoin, you have to understand that companies, corporations, and people will do whatever they can to make sure they have a slice of that pie. I spoke about that before. If you can get Bitcoin $8,000 as opposed to $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, and that $8,000 then ends up becoming $250,000 per coin over the next 5 years, and you have 10,000 of them and you want 5,000 more, you're going to do whatever you can to make sure that you become one of the richest people on this planet. That's just how things work. Once again, not me saying that it's correct or that it's right or that it's ethical. However, that's how markets work. The same exact thing with the stock market going up for no reason, especially when we keep getting news that there are 33 million people, at least, within the United States who are applying for jobless benefits. So also makes no sense why the stock market would go up, especially when we're getting all this bullish news, mentions, feeling, sentiment in the air of Bitcoin's halving, and therefore the price should go down. Doesn't make a lot of sense. This one says the crypto market sheds $25 billion, with Bitcoin losing 11%. I guess this was made a little bit before the crash happened. What triggered it? Question mark. Where are the words? Strong week, cryptocurrencies, wipe out the gains, assets suffered more, time of writing, Bitcoin 8,000, Rager earlier, flash crash, couple of, I can't find the exact words. It is believed that, of course, this was done by whales. Who else would be greedy enough to do something like this? Also, just logically, and once again, always remember, fundamentally as well, nothing has really changed negatively for Bitcoin. We know that in less than 48 hours, the amount of Bitcoin being spit out of the machine is going to be sliced in half. And we also know that tons of people have been turning on their machines in anticipation of trying to get as much Bitcoin, air quotes, as possible before the reward once again gets cut in half. And tons of people around the world have also been buying in mass once again before the halving actually takes place. So I assume by Wednesday, we will probably get some type of news as to exactly what happened and where it happened, because we always get it happened on BitMEX, it happened on Binance, it happened on so-and-so, and then we'll probably get, I give it a week later, some trader or something on Twitter will announce that he was part of the gang who made huge amounts and swaths of money as the prices end up going back up. Who knows? The other weirder news, is it also right here as well? No, it says Bitcoin dump stalls at 100-day SMA. Here's why Bitcoin could rally again. I mean, of course, the price is either going to go up or it's going to go down. There are only two directions. Even sideways, if you really zoom into the charts, it's always going up or down. The craziest prediction that I saw over the last hour or so, as I was combing through the entire cryptocurrency space trying to make sense of this madness, dare I say, was that Bitcoin could potentially test 7,000 something again. There was no exact number. Since the drop that we have had, Bitcoin was around 8,000, 8,100, 8,200, 8,300, depending on where you look. Bitcoin is currently around 8,800. So, I mean, weird, right? That the price would dramatically drop and then start moving back up. It's almost like it was manipulated. That's kind of weird. So, it doesn't look likely. I mean, who knows? I was going to say it doesn't look likely that we're going to go back to 6,400, but I could have told you when I went to bed last night and I closed my eyes that it looked unlikely that we were going to drop by $2,000. But alas, that is what happened. So the craziest one I've seen was a drop further down to 6,400, and another one saying a drop down to, I think, 7,700 to retest new lows or old lows or low lows or whatever people, whatever terminology they decide to use. Anyway, yeah, that's your confusing news for the day. I woke up and thought it was a joke. I thought I had to refresh the page, and I was like, oh, this is clearly an article from 9 months ago. Nope. There was apparently a flash crash. I saw someone else discussing, there was another article, I don't have it up here because it was trying to make, not that it was making light of the situation, it tried to push BSV and Bcash ahead of Bitcoin, as in, well, you know, the other pre-halving crashes, they didn't do that bad, but Bitcoin seems to be doing worse. The idea is that apparently many coins before their halving have a crash that is induced, which isn't necessarily true. They usually have the crash after the halving takes place because the hype bubble kind of pops. We've seen that for Litecoin. We've seen it for Bitcoin in the past. What usually happens is there's a run up in price as people get really excited. The halving happens, prices fall down, and then that's when the actual run up ends up happening over the course of a year to year and a half. And this is probably why we're getting a lot of those metrics. For people saying by the end of 2021, after the halving has taken place, that we're going to see a Bitcoin price anywhere from 100,000 to $250,000 to blah, 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 you know, the other big numbers. Right. Confusing. Very confusing. Don't be surprised if prices dip further. Don't be surprised if we get news tomorrow that there are whales working diligently behind the scenes trying to make sure that prices fall even lower. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say on that topic. Confusing for me, confusing for you. I'm expecting there's one person in the comment section who's going to try and school me as to what I'm missing or what I'm just simply not paying attention to. It happens every single time. If prices go up, if people say that prices are going to go up and then prices go down, there's always someone telling me, I knew the prices were going to go down. If prices go down when people were saying prices were going to go up, Same exact thing happens. TMI, I just simply can't believe you don't understand the way that the markets work, man. Why am I even watching your channel? Unsub. And I'm like, okay, dude, have a great life, because I'm pretty sure that you're watching my channel because you know exactly how the market's working. You are a multi-million-dollar investor putting your money into the cryptocurrency space. Anyway, yeah. Really cool that prices fell. I and a couple of other people I know may potentially, who knows, probably, are going to be using the dip as an opportunity to scoop up some more coins, because, you know, that's how markets work. Anyway, that's the Bitcoin dropping 20% for some odd reason news. And without further ado, let's move on. Next up, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin stated earlier in February that the United States would soon see the arrival of cryptocurrency regulations. Crypto regulations are viewed as the barrier to innovation and adoption. Both of those are relative lies. Things still happen regardless of if the US says so or not. But the lack of clear regulations puts the space at a greater risk. Not really. Many crypto exchanges have moved their bases or home bases to other countries owing to this lack of clarity. Morgan Creek Digital co-founder Jason Williams in a recent podcast asserted that his firm has had conversations with regulators. He stated, "We are actively working with the SEC, FinCEN, and we have had our share of conversations with the regulators, and I think we'll see them coming in the future." That's wonderful. On the other hand, congressional candidate David Goldkorchstein, who is also a crypto promoter, has opined that the U.S. will fall behind if it does not ease up on the regulations, as many crypto companies are moving to countries with regulations that have a better regulatory infrastructure. He said you can't regulate a new space based on 1993 laws. Even better, a lot of the securities laws that they're trying to regulate, air quotes, the cryptocurrency space with are actually from, like, what is it, the 30s and 40s, from when the Howey test was actually created, which is absolutely ridiculous. And let's continue on. Additionally, a recent report released by the Fed of Dallas has opined that clear regulatory measures could be better for the prices of cryptocurrencies. Central bank digital currency is a hot topic in the cryptocurrency space at the moment. Not really. Several countries have joined the race, with China leading the pack. A major concern here is, what if all the financial regulators, along with central banks, decide to release their central bank digital currencies and ban other crypto coins? They will serve their purpose of releasing a stable coin, and I don't think that will ever actually happen. So for those of you who don't know how politics work, money is actually politics. Politicians are usually, and this isn't tinfoil hatty, it's just how things actually are. Money moves things around, and money also makes laws. The amount of favorable laws that we've seen in other countries, and the fact that no other country except for maybe two have actually banned cryptocurrencies. The amount of rich people that we see getting into the cryptocurrency space are also the same exact people who help to create laws that lower taxes for the wealthy. So one can only assume that there's probably not going to be a cryptocurrency ban anytime soon within the United States, especially if all these rich people end up making billions of dollars from the space. It'd be all but the idea of banning crypto will be completely poofed. I'm going to assume, as we have been hearing news about cryptocurrency regulations since around 2017 within the US, and none have been created, made, clarified, but they have just about everywhere else. Europe has theirs, the UK has theirs. I don't know if parts of South America or Africa have them. I know parts of Asia definitely have them. We know that they are coming to Russia, but we've also seen like the draft for them, and it's pretty whatever it is. We know the regulations in China. It's not banned, but you can still own it. You can't trade it, but you can still over-the-counter it back and forth. We know what it is for South Korea and Japan, and I believe Australia as well. But the U.S. is at the end of the line, of the end of the conga line, if you kind of want to say that. And I'm expecting whenever they do release their regulations, it's going to be very tight-necked, bottlenecked, strangulating. Strangulating is the word I'm looking for. Not the right word, but that's kind of the word I'm going to use. And I assume we will get more favorable crypto regulations around 2025, when nearly all companies have left the US to go somewhere else because they want the lower taxes, the free taxes, or just a space where they can kind of build stuff right now. It makes no sense. Why would you wait years to try and open up something within the US when you can go to other places? I mean, even you can go to Puerto Rico, which is a part of the US, and they also have zero tax rate for cryptocurrencies. Why would you wait? Why not just pack your bags? And the point is, I'm seeing this discussion popping up again. I mean, of course, eventually they will give regulations that says, I think we'll see them coming in the future. Or did you mean the past? Did you expect a time machine for us to go back in time to have cryptocurrency regulations? Of course, the regulations are going to happen sometime in the future. It's just a matter of when. Are you talking about this year? Are you talking about next year? And even more so, the cryptocurrency space doesn't explicitly rely on actual regulations. I think if we do get news that there are going to be regulations, there's some type of clarity. This will, of course, allow more companies to get into the cryptocurrency space. But I mean explicitly, me, you, I, us. I don't think we're actively waiting with bated breath for cryptocurrency regulations to come save the day for us. The same exact thing that the topic that we had before. Notice that this has also disappeared. The discussion of a Bitcoin ETF. When was the last time you heard me say the words Bitcoin ETF? It's been a while. Because no one cares. These things aren't actually important. We keep getting news from other, and I mean they're relatively large financial companies who probably rely on the regulations to know how they have to pay taxes, because there's a big difference in having to pay $20,000 worth of taxes and having to pay $2.5 million worth of taxes. So I'm pretty sure it means a lot more to them. But the wider cryptocurrency space, people in Africa, people in South America, people in Europe and Asia, and even the Americas who are just dealing or buying in small amounts of cryptocurrency back and forth, or even using it in their daily lives, it's not a thing that we're not actively waiting for the US to give regulations. And I assure you, when they do, it's not going to be great. It's going to be something ridiculous. People will complain, people will moan, people will get on boats and planes and trains and go somewhere else. And then about 5 years later, when other countries are talking about how much money they've made or how high the price of Bitcoin is in about 5 years, and they want a slice of that pie as well, they're going to try and open up their doors, but it's going to be still very stringent. It's still going to fall under the view or the purview of the SEC, the CFTC, and some other regulatory company, which I assume is also going to come to life in the next 2 years. That is going to be exclusively for cryptocurrencies after a lot of lawsuits end up happening, because we've already seen lawsuits against the SEC when they have deemed certain coins to be securities. Same exact thing with the TON token and the Telegram and the blah, blah, blah other tokens as well. So, yeah, I assume there, of course, will be regulations in the future. It's just how far in the future. I think they've already lost the race, if you want my honest opinion. I think people will, of course, fly to Silicon Valley or many other places should there be cryptocurrency regulations within the United States. However, I think they've missed the bucket. Missed the boat. I think they've missed the bucket. I mean, that could also be something. Anyway, the point is, yeah, that's that news for the day. It's I always wonder, and this is me, I wonder how the future will look back at us. It's fairly obvious that cryptocurrency regulations, or rather that the cryptocurrency space is going to blossom regardless if we have regulations or not. But I wonder 20 years down the line, it's kind of the same exact when you look back from right now in this moment, you look back at the very early 2000s, if not the late 1990s. And you look at wow, I wish I had gotten that company. You look at who adopted what first and who kind of came out ahead. There was something else with someone. They said, can you imagine? I think there was like a discussion in the early 1990s, and they were discussing the future of the internet. And I believe the discussion came down to, I think it was France, the United Kingdom, and then about 4 other countries who were like, no one's going to use the internet. We don't need to adopt the internet. Around like 95, 96, of course, people started picking up, turning on their computers, trying to plug into it's not Wi-Fi. What was the other thing called? Dial-up. As you know, and then things move forward. But can you imagine if there had been a country who still now was like, no, we don't need the internet? Like how far behind infrastructure-wise and everything-wise they would be. So imagine a country waiting 10, 15 years to give any type of cryptocurrency regulation where their entire new infrastructure could be built in their own terms, in their own world. But they take forever. So the other countries who are far ahead and who have made sure to adopt blockchain or build on top of blockchain will come out farther ahead than other ones. But that's just kind of how, this is what I mean. Like, I wonder how history will view these moments. Because other countries are definitely like, yeah, please come over, give us your money. While other places are not. It just kind of is what it is. That's just how the world works. And without further ado, let's move on. Next up, Bitcoin storage and infrastructure firm Blockstream has made a significant upgrade to its ambitious satellite-centric Bitcoin node project, as per an official post earlier this week. Termed Blockstream Satellite 2.0, the upgrade now allows users to download a full node right from Bitcoin's Genesis block, or the first mined block, without the use of an internet connection. Other features include a standards-based transmission protocol, increased bandwidth, and added data coverage. The project was first launched in August 2017, broadcasting real-time block information from 6 geostationary satellites in space. Over 2/3 of the global population could access the Bitcoin network at the time, with the latest update promising more coverage in the Asia-Pacific region and covering almost the entire planet. There's a map right there. This discussion, this happened in 2017 when we first had news that there were a couple of countries in companies as well in South America that were trying to, or had actually created ways for people to transact in Bitcoin through text message. And then also, I think they also had their own satellites, or this was also the discussion that people would also be able to do it through like radio wave signals. Some of the discussion was that if countries decide to ban Bitcoin through the internet, you'd be able to use satellite, radio, other transmitting waves to still be able to transact, and also SMS and text message. So pretty much you could use still other multiple ways to transact in crypto, even if they had said no. I think a lot of this is still being created and or updated as like a just in case. Some other countries become very hostile. Imagine a country decides to completely ban the usage of Bitcoin in 5 years. They don't like where it's going. The price has gotten way too high. They don't like the fact that people are using Bitcoin, XRP, and other stable coins as their main means of transaction. The fallout from their fiat usage drops by 30%. They go, no, this is all banned. People simply get a radio or download an app on their phone, or start texting Bitcoin back and forth. So the economy still lives on, regardless of what anyone says. Users can further expect additional reliability at the edges of coverage zones and less interference from weather patterns, according to Blockstream's blog. Compared to the previous version, 2 unique forward error correction and a Bitcoin lossless transaction compression scheme. Additions help reduce the volume of transmitted data by an estimated 50%. I forgot where the actual numbers were, somewhere around here. Yeah, I think you can transmit data 25 times faster. Compared to the last upgrade, which was 3 years ago. Things are looking bright. This is the kind of news that I really like, if I can kind of say that. I like getting news like this more than other price news. It's more so of a building the infrastructure for the future of the cryptocurrency space. You may not care about the infrastructure, but the infrastructure is very important to how long this is all going to last and how far this is all going to go. If we end up getting news, and I assume Blockstream is planning on launching multiple more satellites. If we get news that, almost said Joe Schmo, Jack Dorsey decides to also launch Bitcoin satellites as well that allow people, like imagine being able to text Bitcoin back and forth. Imagine being able to set up or buy something that's essentially a radio wave signals back and forth that you can send to other people. You know, the waves may not go that quick other places, but within your own city, you're still able to transact in Bitcoin. It's very, very fascinating to think of other ways, because we kind of only assume that it can happen only within the realm of the internet or the blockchain, as it were. I like news like this. I love the building up of the infrastructure. So should there be, and there will be, countries around the world who don't like Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, that their citizens will still be able to say, almost cursed, do something with yourself, because I can still send this to people that I need to help or pay or whatever the case might be. Yeah, that's that news. Let's move on. Next up, Ethereum-focused blockchain technology firm Consensus has published a report looking at the staking and custody preferences of Ethereum holders. The report finds that 2/3 of Ethereum investors plan to stake their coins once the first phase of ETH 2.0 has rolled out. Interestingly, ETH holders who plan to run their own validator nodes, it's kind of weird. Pay attention to this. People who plan to run their own validator nodes are expecting to receive lower annualized returns than those who intend to stake through a mining pool, essentially. Of the 287 people surveyed, the largest segment stated that they plan to use a third-party provider to stake a mining pool, such as like Binance or Coinbase. That was 33.1% of participants. The segment was found to exhibit the relatively highest ratio of storage of Ether on an exchange. They also self-reported a base understanding of ETH2 economics. Despite planning to relinquish a portion of their staking returns or rewards to third-party providers, the demographic anticipates an annual return of 7.6%. Respondents who plan to run their own node can expect yearly rewards of 5.8%. Okay, that's a little weird. And I wonder how that even works out mathematically. If you are staking on your own with 32 Ether, you are planning on or expecting to receive 5.8% returns yearly, which, by the way, is still fantastic compared to many other dividend stocks will give you even major companies 1.8, 2.2, 3.15%. So a 5.8% dividend is fairly nice for having your own Ether. But if you run through a third party or a mining pool or even a cryptocurrency exchange, once again like Binance or Coinbase, 7.6% is incredible. We know that Coinbase charges to 25%, so I guess that would cut a huge chunk out of that. But if you have, I don't know if BitMEX or any other exchanges are going to do it except for Binance in the immediate term. 7.6% is fantastic. So it seems you would have more of an incentive to use a crypto exchange than anything else. Participants planning to operate their own nodes were found to hold relatively larger amounts of ETH and reported having the strongest understanding of ETH's economics. These respondents were also found to store the majority of the Ether on hardware wallets. There we go, hardware wallets. I was right. Only 2.8% of survey respondents indicated that they definitely are not planning on staking their Ether, citing a lack of holdings as their primary. That's not a real reason, though. Even if you have an Ether, you're still able to stake. You just have to do it through a mining pool. I guess maybe they were also part of the people who just didn't really understand the... Yeah, for those of you who don't know, you can, like, if you have 1 Ether, 5 Ether, 4 Ether, 31 Ether, you can still do it through a mining pool or a staking pool or some other type of a pool. You're not out of the club. You are able to do so yourself. Anyway, yeah, I find these numbers interesting. We keep seeing really different numbers depending on where you kind of look as to the expected returns from Ethereum 2.0 staking. I will not lie to you. I'm totally fine getting 5.8% and or 7.6% because you're not losing your Ether. Like, your Ether's locked up in the system as it is staking. But then at the end of the year, you've still made that 5.8% or 7.6% back on the money that you still also have, that you are able to then still take out, that might have also gained in value by itself. On an average typical year, like, even Ethereum doubled in price this year. So imagine you having 32 Ether at a price of 1,000 per Ether. By the end of the year, the price of Ether goes up to 2,000 per coin, and you still made 5.8. You're doing absolutely fine. So, yeah, I like these numbers. I was expecting more news from the Ethereal conference, but alas, we did not receive a lot of news from said conference. So, yeah, we'll see how things work out. I'm expecting big things. I'm still hopeful that within the next couple of weeks, as we enter June, that we will hear the magical words from Vitalik Buterin. Yes, this is happening in July. But, if the past is any indication, you have to remain realistic. Yeah. Rather... I was going to ask the question, do any of you plan on staking? But I want to say the words why not, but maybe that's inappropriate. Anyway, let's move on. And to finish things off, Cardano, today being one of the most ambitious projects to exist in the space, with the project witnessing significant community involvement over the last year. This has, however, failed to push away controversies. Despite several updates listed on its weekly development report, there is still an impending skepticism, according to IOHK CEO Charles Hoskinson. As Shelley readies for its mainnet migration, Hoskinson, in a recent Twitter video, fancy, dismissed rumors surrounding its shipping date, stating, and I do quote, "There is still an impending skepticism I have noticed on many people about the shipping of Shelley mainnet in 2020. We have a Shelley node that is currently running at input-output Hong Kong. We are adding a CLI or a CLI or a CLI to it for the next week's friends and family testnet, so it's there, it exists." End quote. Refuting claims and talks of delays in the Shelley mainnet, the IOHK executive went on to add, "It is now a situation of just getting the plumbing right, distributing it, getting people to install it, use it. It's imminent. It's publicly there in the GitHub repository, and it's not like we have a secret code that we are hiding or something. We are literally..." It's not funny. I'll tell you why I'm laughing. We are literally writing to an open repository that you all can see, and it's very clear that the Shelley node is almost ready to go. End quote. You know why it's funny? Because no one believes it anymore. Since 2017, we've been getting news that Shelley, or whatever this upgrade is being called, the Cardano 2.0, 1.0, whatever, was going to launch. And when you get news by the end of 2017, oh yeah, buddy, it's coming. 2018, it's almost here. Middle of 2018, it is right around the corner. The end of 2018, yeah, man. 2019 is going to be crazy. 2019, man. 2020 is going to be absolutely insane. So I understand the skepticism, regardless of it. I was laughing because I'm like, I can even how I was reading it, I can tell like the annoyance in his voice. He's like, everyone shut up. Like, it's coming. Are you happy now? Because people get very impatient. People want to know that their money is going to produce more money. People have invested in Cardano and they've been waiting for a couple of years now. Like, I know people who got into Cardano in 2017 when I think it was like literally like pennies, not like where it is right now, but like cheap. And they've kind of just been waiting for this like massive surge to happen after Shelley is released. And we keep getting news. This isn't me knocking Cardano. It's more like we keep hearing news. It's almost here. It's gonna happen. There was a Cardano conference in, what was it, Bulgaria last year, and it was expected that and I'm pretty sure even before that we had news that Charles Hoskinson was expected to announce the launch of Shelley. Like it was here, it was going to happen. That was a year ago. So of course people are going to be incredibly skeptical. And the news that we also had as well was that it was going to launch in May, i.e. Shelley mainnet was going to launch this May, coming May, bam, 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 now May. But apparently tomorrow, the 11th of May, this is going to be the family and friends testnet. So it's kind of like, come on, you gotta, I mean, yeah, everybody's waiting. Everyone wants this to kind of happen. I'm not even a true believer in Cardano. I do own Cardano. I own some of Cardano. I don't own the company. But I mean, like, I'm also sitting here like, okay, we're waiting. Like, am I also not a friends and family? Like, I'm also in the club. Last thought. If on the 11th of May, which is tomorrow, this ends up launching, and for the next, I assume they're going to have to do a month of testing for the testnet as well for the friends and family. If by like July, August, this still has not launched, people are going to be like, come on, bro. If we get to November, December, and there still is not a Shelley mainnet launch, I don't know what to tell you anymore. Anyway, where's that word again? It's imminent. Remember that word. Remember his words. He said it's imminent. For those of you who may have English as a second, third, fourth, or fifth language, imminent means incredibly soon. You've seen those alien movies where they're like, the aliens will be here imminently, or like, it's going to launch imminently. Like, it means, in English, when you hear the word imminent, it means like now, like yesterday. Like, it is going to be here before you can even believe it. Anyway, that's the Cardano news. I'm waiting. I am waiting for a $1 to $3 Cardano, because stuff. What happened here? Oh. All right. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. Yeah, we are 1 day, 14 hours, and 36 minutes away from the block reward halving. We are incredibly close. Closer than we've ever been. I know I say that every day. It's because it's true. Yeah. It's it's getting real, as it were. And I don't know what to think about the world anymore. I wholeheartedly expected a major pump, and maybe this is why the whales heard me and they were like, nope, let's do the opposite. I expected a huge pump and then a drop after all of that took place, and then a movement back up. But maybe we're doing a backwards flip. Maybe we are currently in a situation where the price is going to completely drop dramatically, and then we're going to see a huge movement up over the next couple of weeks. Who knows? That's the exciting part of all of this. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters, Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Utopia 569, Yasha Harari, Moonman High, XRP, The Pothead, Joshua Vineyard, Martin Stoyer, Chongo Lolo, Tsongo Lolo, Nostromo, John Sarson. I have so much energy today. Oh, Green Tea, The Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Mohamed Maroni, Master Ventures in Thailand, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Adobo's here, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Nicholas, Run Earth, One Piece, One Love, Damien, Setsuna, Nick Kanaya, Richie Rich III, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Nick Mangel, Avotti, Anthony Charles, Jim Garner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller Hitch Test Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day. Hold on, I have to sneeze. Crayola Michelle, URL, On Crypto with Lionel, Tigera Machonisa, Bake Me a Cake, Arfmedic 17, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Bodie McBoatface, and yes, to Crypto. Thank you all very, very much for your support in these ridiculous times. I do thank you from the bottom of my soul, feet, my body. Thank you to everyone who is a member of the channel, who clicked the little join button below, and thank you to everyone who is a clicker of affiliate links. You are the real heroes in all of this. That was a bit intense. I shouldn't have used those words, but thank you. At the moment, everything's in red, like a red, except for Playfuel. Wow, yeah, good job, Playfuel. You and your Playfuel money. Bitcoin is currently down by 9.6%. ETH is down by 10.1%. XRP is down by 10%. Litecoin's down by 12%. Binance Coin is down by 12%. You get it, percent. Everything is down except for stable coins. I think this is meant to be a stable coin, but it's not very stable. That's under $1 million. That is... Ugh. Yeah. So we'll see what the rest of the day takes us. Once again, if you were looking for this opportunity to accumulate more crypto, I have seen people the last couple of days, no, please, I want the prices to go lower, I gotta buy more. Well, I mean, for some reason, your wish keeps coming true while the wish of everyone else for the prices to go up is seemingly non-existent. But yeah, I am going to use this opportunity to check some numbers, because I would like to accumulate more. Anyway, I think that is definitely going to do it for this video. I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.